If a famine ever reached Britain, most people would not realise it had started. It would not begin with people fighting over the last tin of beans, and it probably would not look like the disaster films. It would start quietly, a few items missing, a few prices creeping up, a harvest warning, a fuel problem, a fertiliser shortage, a war, drought, exports ban, or shipping disruption that feels far away, until your normal weekly shop suddenly costs more than it did last month. By the time most people realise the food system is under pressure, everyone is trying to solve the same problem at the same time. That is when things get messy. So in this video I want to talk about how to survive a famine before it starts. Not in a bunker way, not in a panic buying way, but in a normal British household way. I'm going to show you the food system I would build first, the mistakes most people make and the parts everyone else forgets until it's too late. Welcome back to Charlie Survival. If you do like calm, practical UK preparedness and survival without the fear-mongering, subscribe. And leave a comment below how many days of food you honestly think your home could manage right now without going to the shop. Because that is the question where this whole thing begins. Most people think famine means there is no food. But in a modern country, the first stage is usually not there's no food. It is food becoming unreliable, food becoming expensive, food becoming uneven. Some households cope, others fall apart quickly. Same country, same crisis, completely different outcome. The person with a pantry, water storage, backup cooking and a calm plan has a different experience to the person with nothing in reserve. That is why preparation matters. Not because you can predict the future perfectly, you cannot. And not because every scary headline is true, it is not. But because a fragile food system does not need to collapse to make a normal family struggle. It only needs to become more expensive or patchy. The first thing I would do is stop thinking in terms of survival food. That phrase sends people down the wrong path. They buy random buckets, strange meals, expensive kit, and food they have never eaten before. But the strongest food system is usually boring. It's a deeper version of your normal life. So before you buy anything fancy, open your cupboards and ask one simple question. What do I already eat every week? Because that is the food you should store first. If your household eats oats, rice, pasta, tinned tomatoes, beans, tuna, soup, flour, lentils, oil, tea, coffee, stock cubes, and UHT milk, those are not emergency items. They are normal items with extra depth. You're not building a weird doomsday cupboard. You're building a pantry that gives your household breathing room. Think of it like a shock absorber. When prices rise, you're not forced to buy at the worst moments. When shelves look thin, you're not stood there panicking. When everyone suddenly remembers they need food, you already have a buffer. That buffer is what keeps you calm. But here is where people make their first big mistake. They count items instead of meals. They say, I have 20 tins, but 20 random tins is not a plan. A plan is being able to say I can make 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches and 7 dinners without going to the shop. That is a completely different level of clarity, so start with 3 days, then 7, then 14, then 30. Do not jump straight to a year and overwhelm yourself. A 30-day food buffer built slowly with food you actually eat is more useful than a fancy stockpile you do not understand. The second layer is cooking. Food storage is pointless if you cannot turn it into a meal. Rice needs boiling, pasta needs boiling, oats need hot water, dried beans need soaking and cooking. Even tinned food is miserable if you have no way to heat it, so you need a backup cooking method. This might be a camping stove, gas hob, rocket stove, barbecue used safely outdoors, or a Kelly kettle. But do not buy it and leave it in a box. That is not preparedness, that is shopping. Actually use it. Cook one meal on it, boil water on it, find out you can use it confidently. Because when the lights are off, your phone is dying and everyone is hungry, that is a terrible moment to read the instructions. The third layer is water. Water is where many food plans quietly collapse. If you store dry food, you are also storing a water requirement. So your food plan and your water plan are the same plan. At minimum, I would want stored drinking water, a way to filter water, and a way to boil water. You do not need to turn your house into a military base, but you do need an answer to this question. What happens if the tap water stops for a few days? Now, the fourth layer is the one most people forget. Fresh food. Because in a real food shock, it is not just calories you miss, it is normality. Milk, butter, cheese, meat, vegetables, leftovers. Sometimes cold, sometimes fresh, and this is where cold storage matters. The modern food system depends on the cold chain. The moment that chain breaks, food starts to become vulnerable. And that brings me to this video sponsor, Boog RV. This is the Boog RV CR Pro 29 litre compressor fridge freezer. It fits this topic because it's not pretending to replace your whole kitchen. It gives you a small controllable cold storage option. You can run it as a fridge for milk, butter, cheese, milk, drinks, or set it colder and use it as a compact freezer. It has a temperature range from -22 degrees to 10 degrees and it runs off a normal household plug, 12 volt or 24 volt DC. That means you can use it in a car, camper van, off-grid setup or with a portable power station. So you could pair it with a power station and solar panel and you have a small independent cold chain system. Not to run the whole house, but to protect the highest value foods when it matters. It uses around 45 watts in max mode and around 36 watts in eco mode. So it's definitely more realistic to power than a full-size fridge freezer. For camping, trips, power cuts or protecting key food during a disruption, this is a very useful layer. I'll leave the link to the Boog RV in the description in the pinned comment and use the code CharlieSurvival for 6% off. Now, the key thing is this, a fridge like that is not layer 1. Layer 1 is water, layer 2 is food, layer 3 is cooking, layer 4 is preserving and protecting what you already have. If you have a freezer, use it properly, label food, date food, rotate food. Do not let it become a frozen graveyard of mystery bags. If you buy reduced meat, freeze it in portions. If you cook too much, freeze leftovers. Freezing is probably the easiest preservation method, but it relies on power. So if your freezer is part of your plan, think about backup power, temperature monitoring, and what you would move first if power went off. I spent countless years testing and going through products and I've decided to pick my best picks all in one place on my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. You do not need everything on it, but if you want to see the kind of things I actually look at and use, the kit is linked in the description. And while you're down there and want the simplest free next step, check out the free Blackout checklist. That gives you a basic plan for power cuts, food, water, lighting, heating and essentials. And for people who want a serious step-by-step system, I've built the UK Crisis Readiness System course. That is for building a proper UK specific home preparedness plan. Now let's talk about preservation, because if things genuinely got difficult, the people who know how to preserve food would have a real advantage. Preservation is taking food that would spoil quickly and stretching its usefulness. Freezing, drying, pickling, fermenting, salting, canning, storing roots, using airtight containers and reducing waste. This is the old wise ways, but there is a warning here. Do not freestyle food safety, especially with canning, pickling, fermenting and low acid foods. Botulism is not something you guess your way through. Use tested recipes, the right jars, proper vinegar strength, correct salt ratios and weights when needed. If you don't understand the method, learn before you scale it. Preservation can make you resilient and I've got a lot of videos coming out soon about it. Done badly, it can make you ill, so start simple. Freeze leftovers, store dried goods properly, move oats, rice, pasta, flour and dried food out of weak paper packaging and into airtight containers. Label everything, use what you store what you use. The next layer is growing food. Most people are not going to feed a family from a few pots on the patio, but growing food is still worth it because the real value is not the harvest, it's the skill. You learn soil, seasons, pests, watering and patience. Start with herbs, salad leaves, potatoes in bags, spring onions, tomatoes or beans, and even microgreens on the windowsill. Do not try to become self-sufficient overnight, try to become less dependent and less clueless. That's a lone picture ahead of most people. The next layer is local food. Because if global systems are under pressure, local knowledge becomes more valuable. Where are the farms near you? Who sells eggs, meat or veg? Most people only know one food source, the supermarket. That is convenience but fragile. You do not need to abandon supermarkets, but you should not be totally dependent on one supply route. A resilient household has options, and options is what this whole video is really about. If food prices rise, shelves are patchy, power goes off or fuel gets expensive, you have options. And if nothing bad happens, that still improves your life. You waste less food, spend less money, cook more calmly and shop less desperately. So here is the simple famine plan. Build a pantry of food you already eat. Have backup cooking and test it. Store water, filter water and have a way to boil water. Protect your cold cold chain where possible, learn basic preservation but respect food safety, grow something even if it's small, build local food relationships, and start before the panic, because once everyone is scared, everything gets harder. Preparation is quiet but panic is loud, and if you do the work now, your future self will thank you. So let me know in the comments, what is the weakest part of your food system right now? Water, cooking, pantry depth, freezer organization, backup power, or just not knowing where to start? If you do one thing after this video, download the free Blackout checklist in the pinned comment. It is the easiest first step and it will help you spot the gaps in your home straight away. If you want to go deeper and build a full plan properly, the UK Crisis Readiness System is there as well. And if you want to see the gear I recommend, the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is linked as well. On screen now is a video all about backup cooking options. I go through different methods to use and how to use it properly. So if you want to learn all about that, click this video on screen now and I'll see you over there. Stay prepared, not scared.